still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Guys, welcome back to the podcast. I apologize for the delay in videos, but I was out of town with the wife and kids, so family comes first always for me. But today's video is probably one I want to make for a while, but I didn't really know how to get started. So it's about people who tell me all the time that they want to go to business school. Okay, so if you just finished high school and you're thinking about going to business school, or maybe you've been out into the workforce for a while and now you want to go back to school to get a degree in marketing, accounting, whatever it is, you think it'll make you more professional in the workforce, this video is for you guys, right? So you can understand exactly where you have to start and what steps you have to take in order to get that business degree. So my goal here, guys, is to make you guys independent so that eventually you don't need me, right? I'm always here for you, but you don't need me. So what I want you to do is, before I even start, open up your phone, open up your laptop, right? I want you to follow along with what I'm saying, right? Because I think, at least I know, the best way to learn, for me at least, is hands-on. So I want you guys to do this with me so you can actually see what we're talking about, right? Now remember, I live and work, actually I was born and raised in Miami, right? So, my examples are specifically made for South Florida, particularly kids who are going to local universities here. Now, if you're watching this video somewhere else, this could also apply to you, right? Most universities are structured the same exact way. But remember, my advice is for my Miami people. The reason being is, unfortunately, Miami is a place, education is not really a primary concern here because everyone here is gotta hustle. They're trying to sell you something, whether it's a new pyramid scheme, whether, I don't want to get into it, right? But education in Miami here is not a priority. Even the programs that we offer are kind of like, shady, but I don't want to get into that, right? So this is for Miami folks. So we are assuming here that you are starting at a community college, right? Because if you've been at school for a while, or maybe you finished high school, but your grades weren't great, right? You couldn't get in, or you want to save some cash, right? Nothing wrong going to community college. So remember, your entire bachelor's degree is 120 college credits. Basically, whether you start at a community college or university, your first 2 years of college is your first 60 credits, where you're taking a combination of general education courses, meaning stuff you already did in high school, right? Like math, science, English, and you're also taking, hopefully, the prerequisite classes that you need in order for your major, right? So for today's video, we're assuming that you are going to be a business person, right? Now, when you're first starting out, it doesn't matter if you're not sure what kind of business you want to focus on, because right now, that's not a concern. We don't have to know that right now because, right? So let's do this. We're literally going to go and we're going to Google, right? Now, for example, I'm going to use FIU because it's our local university here, right? And just Google FIU business, right? You'll get the first thing that pops up. If not, it says the Landon Undergraduate School. You click on it, right? And it tells you here different degrees they offer. Now notice, they separate Bachelor of Accounting from Bachelor of Business Administration, even though they're both in the same school, but the degree is separated. But the good news is it doesn't really matter right now because the classes you need are the same to get in, right? So what you want to look for is what's called Business Pre-Req Courses. Once you click on it, right, these courses, and here are the courses, right? Accounting for decisions, managerial accounting, basically accounting 1 and 2, right? You have to take a computer applications for business course. Easy class, not a big deal, right? You got to take an intro to ethics. You got to take a principle of macroeconomics, principle of microeconomics, right? You got to take stats for business and calculus for business. Now, here's where it gets tricky for the calculus for business. Again, it depends on what your test scores were when you got into college. So if you're a math whiz and you did great on math, yeah, you might be able to start straight at calculus. But if you didn't, then what you got to do is you got to see where your scores are at, right? So the most common starting place is what's called college algebra, MAC 1105. So what most kids do, they'll take MAC 1105, then they'll take like MAC 1147, which is like a pre-cal trigonometry, and then they take calculus for business, right? So you might end up with more math credits only because you couldn't start straight at calculus for business. So, it's not a big deal, right? Because those credits will still count as elective credits. Remember, you need 60 college credits to get your associate's degree if you're at a community college, or you need 60 credits before you can apply to your major. So those business pre-core classes that I mentioned is what you will be working on while you are starting out either community college or university. This is why it's important to know what your major is going to be, because if you just start taking random classes given to you by your advisor, and again, they're not doing a bad job, but remember, the advisor's goal is to get you to meet the state of Florida requirement for those categories. So for example, for a social science, you need 2 social sciences. Now, they might give you a psychology course and a history course because you need it, right? Or they think you need it. But for you, if you're doing business administration, you don't need psychology. You could take it. But what you need is macro and microeconomics. Why? Because if you don't take those courses, you can't then get into your specific degree program, which is business administration, right? So assuming we take all these pre-req courses, right, then we then apply to the actual major at the university. And then once you're in that major, right, everybody will take what they call business core courses. This means it doesn't matter if you're doing marketing, advertising, general business administration, everyone, right? It says in the Bachelor of Business Admin program, you must earn 24 credit hours in business core classes, right? So you're going to take these same business core classes, which, read through the list, but again, it involves organization management, financial management, intro to marketing, applied business stats, information systems management, legal environment of business, business law, right? Then you're also you have another category, which is from your speech, career management, advanced communications, right? Which is more to help you for communications in the business sense, right? Now, remember, your last 60 credits is 60. You only have 24 here. So where do the rest of the credits come from? Well, we go back to the main page, which we were at, and that's where you start looking at the different focuses. So for example, and every school might be different. I'm using here FIU as an example because we're in South Florida. This is a major public university that if you live here, you're a Florida resident, why you wouldn't go and take advantage of this cost-effective program, I don't know. That's me. So remember, once you complete your business pre-core classes, right, that we already mentioned, then you're going to take your business core classes. And the rest of your credits will come from whatever area or whatever program you pick. Now, The programs you could pick are business analytics, finance, human resources, international business, information systems, logistics and supply chain management, marketing, and or real estate, right? Now, here's a cool thing. If you do get a bachelor's degree in real estate from FIU, at least in Florida, and you later on want to get your real estate license, which you don't have to, you can skip the course that the state requires because you already have a degree. So you save like $400, I guess, right? Because you'll have a more in-depth understanding of real estate. Also, when kids ask me all the time which of these I recommend, to be honest, these are all good choices. But for me, I have known more people that have done the information systems degree, right? And they've had a really high level of success. So again, when you do information systems, it's not that you're an IT. I mean, I guess you are an IT person, right? But you're an IT person with a business background. So for example, here's like from their actual site. You propose IS-based solutions, which is proposed information systems-based solutions that are technically sound, economically feasible, and organizationally viable, right? So, for example, I have met people or I've talked to former students who've become what's called solutions engineers. These are people that they work with tech sale. In the tech sales world, they call SaaS sales. SaaS stands for software as a service. And you have the tech salespeople who are actually, prospecting, cold calling, finding leads, they're doing the sales process. But in that sales process, they have a solutions consultant. It's somebody who understands the technology, is able to explain the tech to people, but at the same time is able to work with the company, the salespeople, and help bridge the gap. So you're kind of a middleman in the sales process. Some of these folks are making starting about $110,000, $120,000. That's a pretty good starting salary, considering that at least in South Florida, the median salary is about like $50-something thousand, right? So if you can get one of these jobs, this is a great jump. And if you are more tech oriented, you could, add in other areas and more tech stuff, and you can get a job in the tech world, right? Those jobs are very, very plenty, right? But I'll be honest, what I always recommend, and just because I think I've seen most of my former students succeed in this area, has been with a bachelor's of accounting. Now, when you do accounting, I get it. Accounting has the rep of being a boring job, right? You think of a little guy wearing a little green visor, just sitting there crunching numbers, right? It's not like sexy. It's not exciting. It's none of that stuff. At least that's how we think of it, right? But when you do a bachelor's in accounting, you actually understand how a business operates. You understand what is the lifeblood of a business. You can look at profit and loss statements. You can analyze, corporate reports, like the annual 10K filings that companies put out. You understand where money's coming, going, what's going on, right? So for that reason, I think that if you want to one day have your own business, if you want to be in the business world, it's crucial to understand the flow of money, right? You can always learn marketing. You can always take courses. You can go on YouTube. But you want to make sure that the person, if you're not handling your own books, that the person handling your books for your business actually doing the right job, right? Because how many horror stories have there been of people who've had their accountants, doing some shady stuff? They've lost their money. They've been arrested by, different law enforcement people. So that's another thing. If you want to go into law enforcement, right? People always tell me you want to become an FBI agent. If you want to become an FBI agent, having a background in accounting is actually pretty useful. And here's why. The majority of, well, not the majority, but the FBI, they love to hire people that have either law degrees, accounting backgrounds, or some kind of like technical background in addition to like languages and whatnot. Why? Because when you're an accountant, like the FBI, I know you watch movies, TV shows, you think of the FBI wearing like the FBI jackets and kicking down doors and arresting people. That's like a small part of what the FBI does, right? The FBI, they run major investigations, and they're investigating like white collar crimes, which are usually like stuff that like is happening on Wall Street. You're being defrauded, so, or public corruption cases where governments are funneling. I mean, just Google the city of I think it's Opaloca. They've had so many investigations have happened in the FBI for corruption cases. So, and why? Because as an accountant, you understand, right, that where the money's going, where the money's coming, like you understand this stuff. So that's why I think accounting is a great skill set to have. So just to kind of recap, if you are thinking of doing business administration, right, I recommend specialize in either information systems, because tech is the future. Look into accounting, because you really will get a really well-rounded experience and understand how business operates. And then you could then later on take, if you want to become a CPA, those are courses you got to take after you get your bachelor's degree, right? But you have so many options. Well, if you do a general business admin degree, I mean, yeah, you kind of know a little bit about everything. But in today's world, you kind of have to like become an expert at something that you can say like, hey, look, I've mastered this. And while it might not apply to what you're looking for, I could take the skills that I learned and I could later on, master anything else. So, are all these other great options? Yes, they are. And ultimately, you got to make those choices. But the reason why you're probably watching this video is because you want some advice and what to look into. People always pick marketing for some reason. I think it's because I think of like running ads on Instagram or doing TikTok stuff, whatever the case is, and that's great too. Like I have a student of mine, well, former student now, that he ran accounts using TikToks and advertising, and guess what? This kid did it without going to college at all, right? When you're doing social media marketing or social media kind of stuff, you have to have a pulse to the culture, understand like what's trending, what's happening, what's hot, what memes, stuff like that, right? Which again, you can get in college. I'm saying you can't, but you don't need specifically for that. So guys, you know the drill. If you like this video, like, subscribe, share the video. If you have any questions about this, obviously drop a comment below. I'll answer all your questions. But remember, if you're going into business administration, I would say the number one skill you want to start building is learn how to sell. Because you're selling yourself, you're selling a product, you're selling the company you work for, right? So being able to build rapport with people, being able to talk to people, that is a crucial skill for you guys to learn. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate our love and support.